Welcome back, everybody. Quick video here for you guys. Start out October with. This is I believe, a little higher value material in this box. Give you a little bit of snippet of that first thing. It's either higher value or reholders. We'll go over it. Get this opened up. Knife out of the way. Okay, we have some high denomination notes. You'll hear me specify high denom. I'll use the word high denom a lot. Here's a 34A 500 Chicago, graded 55. Nice looking note. Nothing distracting. Real nice margins for AU grade. Face margins are real nice. Corners are still sharp. Little bit of handling dirt. Then we have a 1934,000 and AU50 details. It does have a partially removed writing right here, and I believe a spot of discoloration. A lot of that's just from improper storage. Counter dirt. But that is what it is. And then we have a 1928,000 and AU58. And the grade is comment free. The reason this note is not EPQ or PPQ, it does have a small edge cut right there, but it does not enter the design, so that is acceptable for the grade. It's not uncommon to see edge cuts, especially with banding machines when they strap the banding around the notes. That sometimes will edge cut the note a little bit. So, especially when you see cuts that are so perfect like this one. Tears are different. Tears would be more of a jagged. This is a very sharp, straight slice. So that is accepted in our industry. We do have a bulk order, and these are not the I don't know the correct terminology for it, but these aren't the most outstanding notes you're ever going to see, but these are definitely notes that the market will buy over time. So there's a good mix of obsoletes here. The grades probably aren't going to be that impressive, but the note for the rarity is going to be pretty exclusive. We have the Eastern Bank of Alabama with a great vignette of the cotton hauling and the mules. It is a uniface note. AU55, it does have one hard corner fold, which probably kept that from PPQing. If you look at the back, you could see it. Moving on. We have the Eastern Bank of Alabama 10, another great vignette. Loading cotton onto a ship. And we also have a gentleman down here picking cotton. And a woman over here holding a dove. Uniface note as well. And another Eastern Bank of Alabama. This one's in 64, flat. Next up, Commercial Bank of Alabama. You'll see some of these vignette designs are used across the Confederacy as well. This does have a small smidge of surface damage. Something was stuck to it at one point. All in all, it's still a pleasing note. The Shetucket Bank of Norwich, Connecticut. Slightly better remainder. The red 2, that's called the Protector. It's an anti-counterfeiting measure. The Augusta, Georgia. This is the Augusta Insurance and Banking note. This is a $100 or a C note from 1855. Small internal repair and pinholes. Well, you can definitely see the pinholes. See if we can find that internal repair. Looks like it's right there. Moving on. I am not from the South, so I have no idea how to say that name there in Florida. But it looks like it was issued from an office at Columbus, Georgia. But this is a $3 issue. Bank of St. Mary's. Problem free. Just a nice original. Macon, Georgia. Commercial Bank. 2. VG10. A lot of eye appeal for a VG10. This is definitely... You could definitely see this in a fine holder, not squabble. Savannah, this is a Merchants Planners Bank of Savannah, Georgia, 63. Issued, not a remainder. Great eye appeal. Love the orange tint. Here's the Planters Bank of Georgia, VF30. It does have pinholes, but it is a survivor, nonetheless. Then we have the Farmers Bank of Kentucky. This is a Gem 65. This is a remainder. However, the vignette and the back plate are exceptionally exquisite. Bright colors. This is the original Dix note, 1840 to 1850s. Citizens Bank of Louisiana. Now, me and another gentleman had looked at this note. It does have the remark pieces added over here for somewhat reconstruction. Me and another gentleman were discussing these two notes, and we felt one of them was authentic. Now, the grading company deferred and called each one of them a contemporary counterfeit. When they're at this grade range, it's so difficult to determine, especially on this issue, a counterfeit from a authentic note. So a lot of these, even the counterfeits, are repaired and reconstructed. They're extremely scarce. Here's a Canal Bank 500. This one's in choice AU58. This is a tougher note. The Exchange Banking of New Orleans, fine 12. $50 bill, 1836. Great note, no comment. A little bit better Michigan here, 63Q. State Bank of Michigan, $3 issue. Uniface note as well. Bank of Port Gibson, Mississippi. Excellent note. No comment. Ooh, one of my favorite notes issued. Bordentown, New Jersey. I love railroad vignettes. They are probably some of the most attractive notes. This one has a very robust and bright reverse printing with the bank name on it as well. So you're getting a lot of that seeing through. So the colors are very bright. Here's a Camden, New Jersey proof, Farmers and Mechanics Bank, choice AU58. Small hole. Well, I would hope it has a small hole. No, they're referring to this over here, I believe. And these are, and there's one right here as well. Okay, but these are cancellation holes. And it says hole punch canceled. Excuse me. Morristown, New Jersey, choice song 64. Another great note. Very scarce. New Brunswick, New Jersey, State Bank of New Jersey, remainder. American banknote printed. The colors are excellent on here. This is probably why I get excited about buying obsoletes, is I love the variety. The Sussex Bank of Newton, New Jersey. If you notice, we'll scroll back here a couple. This is the same vignette used on the proof note, but they're two different banks and two different denominations. So you'll see that a lot of times in obsoletes. But I get very excited when I buy obsoletes because of the artwork and the colors. It's enough to draw you in. But The Sussex Bank 64Q. Then we have the Union County Bank of Plainfield, New Jersey in 58Q. Let's see if we can detect. It does have some counting marks and potentially a fold right in here. So, nonetheless, AU58, CU64, you're getting all the look of an uncirculated note for dollars off. Trenton, New Jersey. This is the Mechanics $2 bill. It is a uniface note, very deeply printed for that paper to soak through that ink like that. This is a Santa Claus note. If you notice, there's a Santa Claus riding on a sleigh. This is the Central Bank of Troy, New York, VG10. And it does have some edge damage. Now, a lot of the Santa Claus notes are very heavily worn and have multiple repairs or replaced paper. This one, for what I believe, has a lot of eye appeal for the grade, and Santa Claus is extremely visible. A lot of the ones I've handled prior to, Santa Claus was pretty worn and doesn't have the same amount of eye appeal. Massive Bank of Clarendon of Fayetteville, remainder. A lot of these, this still has its original selvage. A lot of these, believe it or not, are issued notes, and I believe this is one of the only few remainders I've ever seen. But it does have some edge damage. But aside from that, it's a very good note with a lot of originality left in it. They did get the corner tip folded over. That's a bummer. Washington, North Carolina 4 with this huge red protector for $4. No comments. Clearfield, Pennsylvania. Good looking remainder. 62Q. Pretty decent note with a great vignette. Bank of Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, PA. Good looking locomotive. No top on it. Unattributed genuine note. Meaning, plate A. Unattributed genuine note. Interesting. It does have a Haxby number. I can't tell you what the rest of that means. It does have an edge tear, but either way, it's a great note. Bank of the State of South Carolina. Somebody's going to tell me in the comments, but is it that Fort Sumner? Or Sumter? From Charleston, South Carolina. I'll pretend I know my history. It was previously mounted. Ooh, here's another good note. Sorry there. See if I can move this back. Hamburg, South Carolina 20. Issued note VF30. Great looking note. One of my favorite vignettes of all time, and it was used on a Nebraska note, the Bank of Tennessee in Nashville. This is a what I believe is a Sioux or an Omaha native spearing a bison. Does have rust damage. Either way, it's a very great note. One of my most favorite vignettes. Nashville, 1859 to 61. It's amazing to me that a lot of these Civil War issued notes still exist as much of the South that was burned during the Civil War. It does have a small hole. I would almost argue that that's part of a cancellation effort or a spindle. But either way, great note. I recently sold one of these in about the exact same grade. Central Bank of Nashville, Tennessee, black and white. I believe that is a Revolutionary War battle scene. Where is it payable at? Payable at Paris branch. So there must be a Paris, Tennessee. State Bank of Ohio, commercial branch, Cleveland. Excellent. Another great State Bank of Ohio note. This is the Franklin branch, VG8. The Urbana Banking Company, Urbana, Ohio. Choice Fine 15. It does have some edge damage. Here's another Urbana Banking. This one is problem free. Another Urbana Banking. This is a 10. It does have some edge issues, and it does state minor edge damage. Next up, Corn Exchange from Waupun, Wisconsin. This one's at 66. Good look at 3. The State of Alabama 100 and XF40. Almost always these seem to have paper pulls on them for some reason. I don't know if a lot of them were mounted. Milledgeville, Georgia, $3 issue. Green Treasury seal. VF35. Minor ink erosion, as most all of them do. 1863 Treasury note from Shreveport, Louisiana. This is also an extremely tough note and problem free. Excellent vignette on the reverse there. This almost looks like a federal issue. Post note from New Orleans, 1866, for $5. Minor stains, minor edge damage. Stain down here, edge damage over here, and then you have hole cancellations. But doesn't it look very federal? You know, it looks very 1862 federal issue, like legal tender. Very good looking note. And here's another one, but this one is VF30, 1866, and this one has a small edge tear, as you can see down there, with part of the hole cancellation remaining. So, some of these notes may not be of the best grade, but the rarity is conducive to wanting to keep them, to get them certified. And sometimes, even when an example has a little bit of minor damage like that, that doesn't mean that the note's not collectible. It means that the note survived. We're talking about, these are things that were not supposed to be saved. These types of notes were meant to be redeemed and recycled, or you know, as the old saying goes, fire starter. They were never meant to stick around for the decades. As collectors, as humans, we're super glad that people held on to these and we have them today. State of Louisiana, this one's in 55Q. This one's super, super nice. I wonder if it's consecutive. It is not consecutive, but they're very close. Back-to-back 55 Qs. Very good looking notes. A little tougher note here. Jackson, Mississippi, XF40, $10. Has an edge tear. A little bit of minor staining, but the edge tear is pretty noted in the center. Here's another State of Mississippi. This one's 100. What was the last one? Was it 100? No, it was a 10. But the vignettes are so, I don't know, the color and the vignettes, they just kind of, they flow into each other. So it's Choice VS35, minor edge damage. Most of that has to do with the chipping on the edge. A lot of the edge chipping and edge wear on obsoletes is due to poor storage. A little bit of humidity and a little bit of sunlight will just turn these things into brittle monsters. They'll just chip away. Defense Bond in Missouri, VF25. Tougher note. Script note from Alabama. Gainesville, Alabama. Thomas D. Bell and Robert McMahon. It's got a deer on there. VF25. Cool note. Mobile, Alabama 3. This has been, I don't know if they must call these perforation cancels, but there's an actual machine that marks it paid. But City of Mobile, Alabama, AU53, small edge tear right up at the top in the center. And we have single buggy pass, Mobile, Alabama, Bay Shell Road. This is to get you a buggy ride. VF20. On the back, it talks about tickets. Dispose of tickets proper. See, not meant to be kept, meant to be disposed of. Another Mobile, Alabama remainder. This one's on R. North and Company's Family Medicinal Store. AU55 details. Has some previously mounted repairs. Parish notes. This is from Napoleonville, Louisiana. The parish of Assumption. Ink erosion. That's just too bad, but that's just what's going to happen. The parish of Concordia. Now, I've had one of these before. This one's in 66. A lot of times these don't grade this high, and they commonly have edge toning and edge issues. So the paper is very, very different from all the other obsolete paper. It's almost to me, it almost feels a smidge waxy, and when it just gets brittle. Here's another one on 55Q. It must have, has a hard corner right up here. No, nothing in the center. It's an extremely rare parish of, I think it's pronounced Natatoches, Louisiana. And this is actually a pretty nice example if you were to go out and look at some of the others. This is pretty full. $200 post note from the City of New Orleans municipality. Choice AU58. Does have minor edge tears. Trying to find them. Right up here, up in the top of the vignette, you can see them. Cook and Brother, New Orleans. This would be a script note. Multiple repairs, you could see them throughout the paper. Here's another Cook and Brother, VF20. Really nice looking note. $3 issue. New Orleans Coast and Lafourche Transportation Company. I'm probably butchering some of these French words, so VG10. I'm going to say this is pronounced Point Coupe, Louisiana, or Coupe. I'm going to say it's probably Coupe. Police Jury of the Parish, Point Coupe. But I'm not, I have to do it more like Point Coupe. It's probably more like that. Alexandria, Louisiana. Parish of Rapides, or Rapides. Does have a little bit of ink staining. Another parish of Rapides, or Rapides, is probably Rapides. Or Rapids. Another parish of Rapides, 1862. It's okay to correct me. Ink erosion, minor edge damage. You're bringing French Cajun notes up to the Midwest, where if you live in these parts of the world and you hear this stuff, you understand its enunciations. Up here, it's very hard for us. So, what looks like rapids is probably pronounced rapides or rapides. St. Martinsville, Louisiana. Parish of St. Martin, AU50. It's a good piece of script here. Terrebonne, Louisiana. This is the Homa Consolidated Association. Another script note. There's a lot of southern notes in this grouping. The parish of Iberville, but it's from Plaquemine, Louisiana. VF20, 1862 issue. Civil War was rocking. Bangor, Michigan. The Bangus Furnace Company, 1879, 5 cents. It's a cool little piece. Engelman and Babcock and Sailing. This is from Manistee, Michigan, which is northwest Michigan. Not the UP. The UP would be northeast Michigan. Correct? Or is it northwest? No. I think boy, geography, tough today. Manchester, New Hampshire, Page and Martin's Meat and Grocery Store. A little script note. Post note from Trenton, New Jersey. These are pretty popular. This is from the Fenks Manufacturing Company. Post notes are very collectible. You can get them in lots of different reasons, or a lot of times post notes are for different manufacturing companies, or they're for like city projects, things like that. You can collect them for lots of different avenues. Angelica, New York. This is the Allegheny County Agricultural Society. It's kind of a post-note theme as well. P. Vidvard, Utica, New York. Little piece of script. It does have some edge damage at the bottom. These notes are fairly common. You'll see these still in sheets running around. These just came in the deal. They weren't a sheet or anything. But this one is this is South Carolina Railroad, Charleston, 65 PPQ for 1. And then we have the 3, which is graded AU58 PPQ. Trying to figure it out. I don't see anything super distracting yet, but it is a nice note nonetheless. It might just be overly handily for Unk. Does look good though. More trains. Trains are very collectible. I'm a train guy. Clarksville, Tennessee. VF20. Another script note. Does have rust on it. Paperclip most of the time. Medina, Ohio. Land Company. VF20. No comment. Port Angeles, Port Angeles, Washington. This is a script note from Panic 1893. The note is set up like a pool table. That was the first thing I noticed when I bought it. Eastman College Bank, VF25. This is from Poughkeepsie, New York. It is front and back printed as well. Is the reverse inverted? 4th issue. It might be. I might have to go look at some of these. That might be an inverted back. Interesting. That would be pretty cool if it is. Confederate States of America. Minor ink erosion. VF35 on a T28. Here's a counterfeit CT18. It is missing a little bit of its corner. As noted, corner damage. And T20, one of my favorite notes. This is actually the note that got me into buying Confederates. There's a lot of varieties on these notes, especially with the counterfeit, the CT20. So, a lot to look out for. Collecting Confederates is an excellent way to start. It teaches you a lot about plate varieties, paper varieties, watermark varieties, the different signers, the plates. There's a lot of different errors you can look for. All in all, the Confederate series offers a lot of potential for collectors. But really nice T8 and VF30. Just not a note you see in this grade very often. Then we have the Hoer note, the T41 64Q, and it has a battery of stamps from Jackson on the back of it. Another super tough note that I don't think I've ever had is a T53 and 64Q. This red paper with the blue back is very tough to find these in choice on condition. And then the $500 Confederate with the red paper or pink paper, problem free, circulated piece. I believe this is Stonewall Jackson at the bottom right. But that's everything I got today, guys. You'll probably see these notes start popping up on... they're most likely to go to eBay. I have a few of these that will get offered directly to customers. But with that being said, I hope all is well. I hope you enjoy the video. Like, subscribe, follow. Don't hesitate to ask a question. And I'll catch you on the next one. We'll probably have another video towards the end of the week. And that's it. I hope everybody in Florida stays safe. And Godspeed to those in North Carolina on the recovery of their state and South Carolina. It's hard for us to sit here in the Midwest and see such travesty. So with that, hope all is well. And I'll catch you on the next one. God bless.